mixed or white, understood that if free capital flow is permitted, governments will not be able to make policy. And that was understood by Adam Smith, and the reasons are obvious. Free flow of capital, deregulated currencies means massive speculation, and of course speculation increased astronomically after currencies were deregulated. A free flow of capital creates what's called a virtual parliament, which carries out a moment-by-moment referendum on government policies. And if they don't like the government policies, they destroy the economy by capital flight, by tax on currency, and so on. That renders democratic choice impossible. That's been understood for a long time, back to Adam Smith. And the logic is simple, and that's exactly what happened, exactly as predicted. In the countries that followed the rules, growth slowed, and democracy formally functioned, but the choices within it narrowed, because the choices are basically made by the international investment and lending community. They don't like the choices, destroy the economy. And you can see case after case of this time we'll talk about. So they're not agreements, they're not about trade, and they're certainly not free. They include highly protectionist elements. So one core element of the World Trade Organization and all the free trade agreements is a guarantee of monopoly pricing rights to major corporations. In the World Trade Organization, it's called trade-related intellectual property rights. It has nothing to do with trade. It has nothing to do with intellectual property. It has to do with monopoly pricing. It guarantees to major corporations the right to charge extraordinarily high prices without competition for a long time in advance. It's completely unprecedented. No developed society, currently developed society, ever tolerated anything like that, but it's imposed now to prevent others from achieving the same development. In the economics literature, it's called kicking away the ladder. The term comes from one of your great economists, Friedrich List, who pointed out that the actual road to development is state-directed development. He was correct about that. And also added that once countries use it, they want to kick away the ladder so that others can't use it, which is correct. And the World Trade Organization is a perfect example. These monopoly pricing rules, just to give you an estimate, just in the case of the United States alone, and just the pharmaceutical industry alone, gives them about $150 billion a year. And if you generalize that to other industries and other countries, of course, it's astronomical. And there are many other such exceptions that violate any principle of free trade. So they're not free, they're not about trade, they're not agreements, but apart from that, they're free trade agreements. And their main function, understood, is to undermine democracy. That's true of liberalization of capital, it's true almost by definition of privatization, and it's true of the whole collection of neoliberal mechanisms. Well, that's in the, but this is globalization in the propagandistic sense, and it's intended to, it's going to have the consequences, presumably, that are predicted. Widening economic divide, slower growth, deepening stagnation, increased terror, which will require violence from us, but that won't be terror, because what the emperor does is not terror, only what the pirate does. What's done to us, not what we do to others. Well, these examples are quite typical. Pick your example, pick the case you're interested in, you'll find something similar. And one of the major tasks of the intellectual culture, and the media in particular, is to keep to the propagandistic propagandistic notions and to, in general, shape our perception of the world so that we don't see what's happening. We may get the facts, the data may be there, but within a framework that makes it almost impossible to understand, that marginalizes people, that allows them to be more easily controlled, it removes them from exercising authentic power, and people know it. It's not that they are ignorant, they see it. So take the United States, which is a very well-studied society. We know a lot about it. Public attitudes are well known. In the last election, year 2000, which is the last one, of course, for which we have specific data, before the election, right before the election, about 3/4 of the population regarded it as a farce. That's why the public didn't care about all the exposés about cheating in Florida and the Supreme Court and so on. There was a lot of uproar about that, but it was limited to intellectuals, and the public just didn't react. Okay, so the election was stolen. It's a farce anyway, so who cares? The public, 75% of it, before the election, so before any of this, considered the election to be, and all elections, to be some kind of a game involving rich contributors, party bosses, and the public relations industry, which trains candidates to say meaningless things, which may be able to get votes, but prevent you from understanding their positions on any issue. In